Hello. Thanks for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Fuck. No, that's the opposite. Jeremy, do the intro.
Hey
It
everyone,
happened.
welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show. I'm Jeremy Gage. As always, you can find me at JeremyGage5 and on the Draw Your Dice podcast. I'm also here with Adam Bell, who is fixing technical issues for all of you saw a behind the scenes cut. Adam Bell, who are you?
Hey, I'm Adam Bell. I am a person that talks about games, thinks about games, makes games. You can find me on Twitter at Adam E. Bell. You can find any of my games at adamebell.games. Pretty handy, pretty easy. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's who I am. What's new in your world?
What's new? I'm slowly thinking that maybe I don't like writing games. Maybe I just like playing them.
Oh, no. Yeah?
I like game design still. I
Okay.
like being able to be educated about the games I read, but I'm just finding making a game difficult. I'm just never happy.
Interesting. Do you think is it the writing the game itself that's the problem, or is it developing the mechanics? Because they are. That sounds like the same thing, but I think you know that that's not the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's both, honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I think that's the latter. I think it's the latter of like the development process of like thinking like, is this good? Does this make sense? Can I explain this to someone? I think something that would help would to have some sort of like Shark Tank group where I could like we could all come to the table and be like, "Hey, I have a game idea. Hey, I have a game idea." And I think iteration would be faster that way. When I'm in my own bubble,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good.
So do you feel like you are going forward with bad ideas, or are you just like being too harsh on ideas that you're telling yourself aren't good, and then you scrap
The
it?
former.
The
The
former.
former.
You think you
Yeah.
just ride something that has no legs for
Yeah.
far too long?
Yeah. Yeah. I need the juice tank. Draw your dice tank. DYD tank.
Not a bad idea. We've
The
got
juice tank?
we've got the we've got the technology to start the show Juice Tank if we
Yeah.
wanted to.
Juice tank. Yeah, if I can get like something to happen in the DYD server around an idea I have, I would do that. I would let that happen. Let's all get in the tank, guys. Let's fucking figure out my games like just one time. I would just like one written product under my itch page, please.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do that. Whatever you're having trouble with, we'll find something, and hopefully it's not that you just don't like writing games. But it might. I mean, it might.
I don't
be.
think it's writing. I like writing them.
Okay. Hopefully it's not that you don't like creating games. Do you like workshopping other people's games? Like, does that get you
Absolutely.
juicing?
600%. Yeah. There's so much juice in my cup for giving other people ideas.
Interesting. There like are a lot of subtle things with game design that like I don't know. Just like a lot of weird skills that it comes with. Like the ability to tell if an idea will be fun is not something that I think comes easily. Like I don't think an average person can like listen to one or two rules and be like, "No, that's pretty good." That that sounds like it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that a lot. We sort of did that the other day.
Yeah.
You, me, MV. In fact, I'm just gonna add the juice tank right now to the house.
Oh my god. It's live Discord stream adjustment.
But maybe we have two callers in the queue.
Well, we have two callers in the queue, but nobody's in the waiting room.
Oh, is it because of the directions? Are they trying to follow the directions?
I mean, these are two callers that have called before. Okay,
You
here we
can
go.
both enter the room at the same time.
They're climbing
callers.
in. Yeah, the point of the call queue is so that we know the order. Of course.
I love it. If you're all not watching the Discord chat live, as it unfolds between Greg Nard and Will Yopes.
Just an extra layer of entertainment in there. Yeah,
Truly.
let's bring in Greg Nard. It's been so long. I'm dying to hear what he has to say. Hello, thanks for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Who are we talking to?
Hey, can you hear me this time?
Oh yeah, just
Yeah,
immediately
you're
your
coming
audio
so
is
clear.
perfect.
I know we had some issues last time. Whew. Hold on. Let me. No, Betsy, just a second. Like I just got on. Yeah, no, take kettle back in the house. Just like 10 minutes.
Are you outside?
All right, thanks, sweetie. Yeah, no. Jeremy, she does say hi back.
That's it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I've been so absent. Reception is pretty sparse for the internet here out on the the homestead. But it's been clear all morning. So I figured I'd try to call in. Glad I got my time zones right. I've been just cranking on Thaco smooches. And just wanted to check in. What I've come to, I really loved your input last time. We may go the miniatures route still, but what I'm really just trying to nail down. I liked a lot of what Jeremy said. I think after I got off the air, that was taken. Is it Brandon Leon Gambetta's his kind of passions? Is that what it's called? Approach with questions.
Pasiones.
Yeah, and so what I think I need and what I'm trying to work on is a series of questions, and I think based on the bell curve probability of 2d6, I think I only need. I mean, probably. I guess it depends on whether we take levels into account. Okay, here are two approaches, right? No levels, right? Which seems anathema, but apparently some people are doing levelless games nowadays. Anyways, so either 2d6 no levels and just a bunch of questions, or 2d6 plus level plus question, which seems way more in the traditional Thaco spirit of things. So, first of all, which approach do y'all think is better?
I think the more the better.
The
So
more the
the
better.
levels are helping people get into their character. The questions are helping people get into their character. Maybe there's like another thing that you can bring in. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know
I
if there'd
thought
be a
about
third one, but
stats, but I've been looking at these games and their stats are so weird.
like meat. Are you talking about like meat stats? I mean, meat in Thaco smooches
It could be interesting.
could
All
be
right. Well, so
something.
what are the elements of a Thaco smooch that you think are essential to include? Let's start there. Like, what are the essential components of a Thaco smooch that you would build stats around?
Is the smooch? I want to make sure we're using clarity of language here. Is the smooch a literal smooch, or is that what we're calling the characters in the game? Thaco smooches, a game about smooching and Thaco.
Well, I think like what I'm building to right now is that like the smooch is kind of like when you roll a nat 20, if you know what I'm saying. Like that's like the most effective. Like you don't have to smooch everything, but you're probably going to want to smooch a lot of things.
Right.
And so I think using that thematically, because a lot of these things make when they're naming their stats, they make big use of theme. I think that's the place to start. So we want to draw from everything that Thaco is. We want to draw from everything that a good old smooch is, and marry those together in the language.
I
Okay.
think I think I want to say I feel it in my blood. There's charisma, I think, in this, both in a lot of ways, both in the romantic sense, but also in like the present sense. So maybe there's like some of your like intense or uh like words that are indicative of like what someone feels when you walk in a room. Like the second you come in with like gristle and scruff and you're just giving off this aura of like don't fucking talk to me, that's a stat. Like that right there, that's intensity. And then maybe there's like two stats of like that are a balance act of um repelling and then pulling individuals, right? So like repelling others from talking to you, and then allowing like people to talk to you, maybe.
Yes, but what would you call them? Like I liked scruff. I think that's a good stat. That's That's Betsy's favorite part of the smooch. And so what what like I mean I think we need at least 3. It looks like.
Okay, so like one is intensity, one is scruff, and then one is allure, maybe
Should these all be scales?
some
I
sort of like
wonder.
magnetism word.
Like, what's the opposite of scruff? I feel like everything should be a sliding scale, like from
Ooh, I like
scruff
that.
to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
what smooth? Is it smooth to scruff? It's like, where are you on the smooth to scruff scale? Add your, you know, add the
And
decimal.
really, are you just a cowboy?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like that. So smooth to scruff. We've got what are we intense to what then?
It's like, not delicate.
I
Delicate's
think
not quite
intensity
right.
is its own thing because the higher, I think intensity could be like a variable thing where like the higher
Are
your
we trying to
intensity, the
build
more
the intensity
obvious.
of the Thaco smooch as we go?
Or adjust,
Yes.
like I think everyone starts the middle ground and say like I want to be less intense, right? And then you can think about like since I'm less intense of an aura, I can get or like I can people right sneak around in a public setting and sort of disappear if I want to.
So
I like that.
intense goes from 0 to some number, which is your maximum intensity,
Yeah.
and that varies based on all of your other stats, I think. So when you multiply your scruff times your whatever we said, smooth
Intensity.
times your thing, that's how you get your maximum intensity, and then you have to calculate your current intensity based on where you are in the story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every time you level up, like you can twiddle that dial a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
Mm-hmm.
always
Mm-hmm.
you can always twiddle that dial.
Always twiddle the dial a little bit.
Mhm.
No, I love it. Well, the two things that I like that I'm going to noodle with that a little bit. What I really called in from is, I've got a good list of questions. I'm workshopping them all. We've been I think y'all call it juicing them. So we've been putting them, through the rigor. Me and Betsy and Luke and a few other folks have been sitting down and just working through the problems. But I just wanted to see y'all have been so instrumental in this process, so helpful. Are there 2 or 3 Thaco Smooch questions that you think would be good to include? Because we basically I think we want enough questions where because you got to hit 0. So when you roll your 2d6 and you add your stats, well, I guess you adjust the dial on your stats first, and then you add your level, and then you'll ask a series of questions. So,
Mhm.
if we're going with that approach, 6 is probably enough. I feel like I've got 4 really good ones. I just wondering if y'all might want to kick in a couple that I could mess around with.
I think one important one, make sure it's a very consent based play. So I think the first one would have to be, have you obtained consent to try the Thaco Smooch?
Oh, I like that.
Because if not, maybe you can't even roll the dice at all. The intensity is 0.
Ooh.
Jeremy, what else do we got besides
Like that's
that?
like a good critical failure situation. Like you ask that question, it's no,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden it's just a fumble.
Right. Why are you even trying this? You fumbled.
Maybe there's a series of questions talk about like how did this start? Like how did this encounter begin? Like did they give you the cold shoulder or uh were they the ones that invited you to this table? Like it could be like when this person invites you to the table, you can do this or invites you to the conversation or whatever that is. Um and maybe there's one that's like how did it end? Like did it end in a hug or a huff sort of thing?
Oh yeah, like the last encounter.
Yeah, so like that could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like because we're gonna have all the NPCs present all the time, right? Whether we go with minis or not, we're gonna just have a massive, slider chart so we can track fictional positioning.
Yeah.
And so like everybody will move back and forth on that, right? So and that could be like a modifier, right? That's like a good like where did it end up last time? And that could swing things pretty far. I like that. Any other questions you think
Number
I
of
should
people in
mess
the
around with?
room.
What?
You were saying how I was just thinking that you could also do like how many people are in the room? Like what's the pressure of
How many
the space
Ooh.
you're in?
how
Could
many
also
people
adjust stuff.
how many people in the room have you already smooched, and is it awkward?
Also that How many
Yeah.
other people have you fakoed?
How many? Yeah. How many other people have I rolled equal to 0 against? Give him that big old
Mm.
smooch. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Any other major factors y'all think I should be messing around with during the next couple weeks of playtesting?
I'm trying to think. I think you've got a lot going on here. I would not shy away if you have any other ideas to just add them. Just drop them in there. As many ideas as
Juice
possible.
everything.
Yeah.
Get a whole mix like. Have you
Pith.
y'all heard of Pog?
Seeds.
Pogs?
Passion orange guava juice. Like you get a whole Pog mix of juice in there.
Yeah.
Greg, I have a quick follow-up question. Where are you calling from?
Do what?
The homestead. Yeah, where's the
Yeah, I'm calling
homestead?
from the homestead.
Yes, I understand.
Where
I understand that that's what you call it.
Okay, look, I don't
but
know a
if you
lot
can
about
give
the
me a
internet, but I do
longitude and a
know that
latitude.
the men from the FBI told me that if you give your information out on the internet, people will come in and rob you blind. So, Jeremy, I trust you.
Surely
That's
a
kind of
time
fond
zone.
affinity for you, but I mean that's a big ask right now.
And-
I mean, I think if people pay attention to the context clues, they might be able to figure some of the details out.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all are welcome over for dinner anytime, also.
Yeah, hit me with a DM.
Well,
I'm just curious. I'm
what
just curious where Greg Nard's from.
Like,
time
you wanna
zone
come
are
over
you in?
and you want me to be your dungeon master? Like, I mean, I guess we could make that work. Are you wanting to get on the playtesting?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, okay, so yeah, maybe playtesting, also other dungeon master things. It doesn't matter. Me and Adam are up for anything. I speak for both of us.
I'll be there. I'll definitely be there.
I'm
Hello,
excited
Greg.
about it. By the way, Luke told Betsy that y'all had been looking for me. So anytime you need to talk, just tell Luke. He'll let me know.
Luke. Okay.
Who's
All right.
Luke?
It's been great as
let
always.
Luke know.
Tons to noodle on. Can't wait to hear what everybody else is talking about. But I can only call out or listen. I can't do both. I got to go back into the house to get near the internet radio and listen to the rest. So I'm excited about that. And thanks so much for hosting the show.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank
We'll be
you,
looking
Greg.
forward to you. Have a great rest of your day.
How do I hang this thing?
Wow, always a pleasure to talk to Greg Nard out on the homestead.
Yeah,
Just a true treat.
a little bit more of tabletop call-in lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I need to just take a deep
Greg Nard's
breath.
gonna be a celebrity someday. But Thaco Smooch, interesting. There's some interesting things to consider, like on a universal sense too, like considering mechanics of like how many people are in a room, right? Can you operate under
Well, I like
oral speaking things?
that everybody has to always be in the room. That's good tech.
Mm-hmm.
All characters are here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this Super Smash Ultimate level of tech. Everyone is here. They're doing great.
Everyone's here and they're all smooching.
All right. Well, should we? You want to talk to Will in the waiting room?
Yeah, I would love to have Will back. This is Will's third call. I think it's Will's third. Their third.
I don't know. I believe it. We got to start doing achievements. Hello. Thank you for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show.
Hey, it's Willie Obes.
How you doing?
What
It's so nice to hear both of your voices. How are both of you doing?
I was expecting Jeremy to talk. I'm doing great.
Nice.
How about you?
I'm also doing
Double
good.
greats. Greats across the board.
Wow, triple great. Hey everybody, we're doing great.
Yeah.
I
Combo.
love when Greg Nard calls because both of you are completely shell shocked whenever it's like completely stunned, like unable. The conversation goes where Greg wants it. It's just it's cool. It's like a demo test for a printer to see that it prints every single color correctly, right? So
What an analogy.
to get your kind of registration set, you get a Greg Nard call on.
Really kicks the tires on this thing, truly.
I know
Yeah.
you can especially tell that after the call, it just is exhaling after that.
Just trying to take a deep breath, figure out who I actually am.
Yeah, I think Greg's cool.
Will, you've come to the call-in show. You're calling in. Question, what's up?
What's up with me? I'll start with the top of what's up with me is the Kickstarter for Campfire. The anthology horror storytelling game is on Tuesday, June 1st.
Hey, wow, that's soon. How about that?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday. 11 a.m. Go check it out. It's going to be great. It's me. It's Adam Vass. It's art by Trevor Henderson. It's got killer writers, including Trevor, Epidai Ravishal, Banana Chan, Juliana Riverdo. We got Maria Meissen, Linda Codega. Yeah, it's going to be great. Go braintrust.rocks and pre-save that shit.
Story games are coming to your home.
Story. Okay, another production of Story Games LLC. Jesus. But I come now that rudeness is out of the way, obviously, we got to talk about our Kickstarters. I have a question directly from the Traveler, which is a person that I am reporting on. Traveler moving across the United States. Mm-hmm. Let's see, where's this question? If your game or a game you like was a truck, what kind of truck would it be? This is from Adam Vass of World Champ Game Go. Campfire launches on Kickstarter June 1st at www.braintrust.rocks.
Hello from the Traveler. I tried not to look at this one so I could be surprised whenever it was called in about.
It even surprised me because it's kind of written as one long idea, kind of stream of consciousness. So
Right.
I'm ready to engage with it.
With the plug in there. If a game was a truck.
Did I get like the Home Depot music?
I think that
I'm trying to think of what types of trucks
could
there are.
be a. I'm gonna take a tanker truck. The ones that are filled with gases and liquids. Yeah, I know trucks. Also, I have the Wikipedia article pulled up. So
Oh.
Trucks?
tanker
Did you say-
trucks.
are you saying
where
tinker or
they hold
tanker?
Liquids. I think
Tinker or tanker?
tanker, like
Oh.
tanker.
I thought you were saying like a tinker truck. I was like, that's
Tanker.
cool. I like a tinker truck.
Tinker, yeah, Tinker Truck Soldier Spy. Is that famous?
Yeah,
Wait,
my
Jeremy,
games are filled with amorphous S.
You're going backwards from picking a truck and figuring out what games the truck is?
There's a lot happening on my end. I want you to know the links I go to for this show.
It's just, that's exactly the kind of perspective out of left field. Let me think about the trucks I know first.
Yeah, they hold liquid. They're amorphous. They can be anything. And tanker truck. Tanker truck would be my game.
Oh, and good, we got the trucks up.
Yeah, we got the trucks up on the stream. It's the first time I've ever pulled anything up on the stream. It's important.
Okay, so I guess let's go through each one of these, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. I think
All
we
right,
have
so
to.
we got Tanker, the complete works in progress and works of Jeremy Gage. So yeah, I'm thinking like,
Is a tractor really a truck?
I
Is
know
a
couple
van-
scarecrows that are going to be offended.
Is a van a truck? A forklift? I don't know about this graphic, but I think
These-
we have to...
These are the types of trucks. Okay, so let's just get them out of the way. Like tractor, a tractor is like
Grandpa's
a
farm.
board game that you would play at work to help you get better at your job, like a corporate kind of team building based board game or role playing game.
Okay. Yeah, that works
Okay.
too. I was gonna say Grandpa's farm, but I think that
Grandpa's Farm by Tyler Grumride. Now available on itch.io. I edited that game. What a great game.
Yeah, it's good. I'm a fan.
Yes.
A pickup truck.
Possible
That's like
worlds.
your everyday game, the pickup truck. You know, it kind of can do everything. You know, any genre you want to play in, you could make the pickup truck work. So of course, this is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. The
I'm
pickup
thinking
truck
it's,
of gaming.
you know, it's a D&D. Yeah, you can put I like that analogy that you can put anything in the back of it and you know, unless it's crushed by its own weight, which is one of my favorite types of YouTube videos, is people putting things in pickup trucks that, well, so this will kill the truck.
What?
You ever see that?
No.
Yes. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was crazy.
Yeah, Adam.
Will this kill the truck?
Adam.
I've got
Will this kill the truck?
Googling to do. Is it a good idea to microwave this?
Will it food?
You ever see a video of someone putting a brick in a washing machine?
Yes.
That's the good shit.
On a trampoline.
That
I've heard
ultimate.
something like that.
All right, so what we got next?
Tow truck. Tow truck, that's your supplement. That's your, like, you know, your game's not going, it's kind of less than good. So here comes the supplement. Here comes the Fiskborg. Not saying that Morkborg isn't good, but here comes the Fiskborg. It's rescuing your game. And then people are going to think...
It's another D&D class.
Tony's in the chat saying that the tow truck is the SRD.
I think tow truck is to, like, I think you're totally right. You know, it's a lasers and feelings, while Honey Heist is the tow truck, right?
Okay.
Like, that car went for thousands of miles. And now it's time to get a little help.
Right. It's time for a quick session of Honey Heist to make your game feel better. What?
Wait, that's actually another great one. That, like, the game you play as your off night, you know, your quiet year or your campfire anthology horror role-playing storytelling game.
What was that
That
one?
kind of off. It's coming out very soon. Yeah. My stream's glitching. What's next? It looks like a big red truck.
Yeah, there's problems, I think, with the internet right
Fire
now.
engine.
It's probably my fault. The fire engine is next.
There is a Fate setting where you play firefighters. I've always wanted to play it, and everyone's like, I don't want to do that. And so it could be that.
Wow. Nobody wanted any part of it.
Wants a fire engine?
I'm trying to think if there's any
I
other
think a
ones.
fire engine is an emergency game. It's like I think it's like a game that you can always fall back on and play with your friends if you can't figure out what you want to play.
Yeah, this is your
Catan.
your Catan, your party game that comes in and is like, we had a really serious conversation about an hour ago, and we're not ready to kind of get into character and expose ourselves to any potential bleed. So we are playing
Is
Banana
the fire engine?
Grams tonight.
Is it Super Mario Party? Is that what fire engine is?
Oh yeah, it's Jackbox.
Super
It's Super
Chat?
Mario Party. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great content. Let's keep it up. Van.
Party games.
The van is the thing that you live in. You know,
Bond.
there are people living in this game, and you're not really sure why they're doing it. Like the people
Yeah.
that are doing it on purpose, but like you can live in this game. So that's something like
Vampire the Masquerade.
I don't know.
This is like a
Which one?
you know, when someone makes a tabletop system and then it's ported over to LARP and then it doesn't change for 25 years.
I feel like there's some of this is going over my head.
Let's get in the van, Adam. What is it?
Well, I'm not playing any real
No.
campaigns right now, so I feel like, well, apparently everybody's agreeing that the vans are LARPs in the chat here. Vans are LARPs. This is Fight Truck.
What can I say? I understand trucks.
Okay, I guess we've got that one settled. The cement
What?
mixer.
Cement mixer. That's a world building game.
Yep.
Yes, very good. Yeah, yeah.
And
This
I
is
think
your- this
I
is your
think
grasping
Adam Bell
nettles.
makes cement
Damn, I'm a
mixers
cement
for
mixer
games.
guy. Damn.
Why is that bad?
Not
don't
like this.
It's foundational toolkit games.
Look.
Cement mixers.
Cement is not my favorite material. I don't want to build a world out of cement. But
I know. I think you're
We've
much
done
more
it.
like a truck that takes a tree perfectly out of the ground and places it somewhere else with no harm to the tree or the earth.
yeah, definitely zero
So
harm
sim.
done. It's possible to transplant a tree and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, those
could do it.
those wild like
Like the claw.
yeah, the claw. I don't have words in English for what I'm trying to communicate to you.
I was talking about this with a friend the other day.
Do you have
and that,
words
like,
in another language?
Not yet.
the words thing? I was talking with a friend the other day that over the past like year of being mostly not talking to people out loud, that words are harder to come by than they used to be. I don't know if everybody else feels that, but that's the thing people are thinking about. That we can't think of words like claw.
I think there's definitely like a middle ground between the absolute inane conversation we used to have all the time and then like what this is, which is just extemporaneously speaking. So like recording a podcast really gets you good at like stringing together internally consistent sentences. That doesn't help in any time of my day other than 1 hour every 2 weeks.
Right. Okay, so we've already said that the tanker truck
Feel that.
is Jeremy's reserve of games that will eventually come out. Is
You
that
skip
They're
accurate?
They're the ash can games.
There's no garbage truck
Still
on the types of
amorphous.
truck.
Still liquid.
Okay, so I just got to say the garbage truck is all of Adam Fass's games when they were living in La Cañada, California, because every time we would record a podcast, garbage trucks will just incessantly drive by extremely loudly doing loops around the cul-de-sac.
Oh boy. The tractor trailer. Long haul trucker.
Semi.
I think that's your campaign game.
This is the campaign
game-
game.
That
Yeah.
doesn't work
Yeah,
until
yeah.
5 sessions.
Yeah.
This is
Yep.
your
Literally can't play it for less time.
yeah,
Like a band of blades.
right, Scum and Villainy.
Mm-hmm.
Edge of the Empire. Yeah, this is like because semis usually have some branding on it. This is like a licensed RPG that's meant for really living in it. So like your Alien RPG, a lot of the works of Freya Legan.
All right. Forklift. This feels like it's going to be a tough one. I feel like if
What does it
I've-
do?
I feel like if forklift was here earlier, it would have had the same answers as tow truck, but we've already used that logic, so we got to come up with something new here.
Forklift is like a sledgehammer.
It just does a lot of heavy lifting in very little space.
Yeah. I think of like the work of Spencer Campbell here too, because the object that's being lifted is other people's creativity as well, creating within this system. Filming.
Yeah, and that's how you end up with like the videos of the very safe like forklift picking up a forklift picking up a forklift to get something very high.
I guess we have to consider that as far as accidents go, out of all of these, I've seen the most on forklifts. Yeah, forklifts are both the works of games that have really strong itch followings and people like an active design community. And also when you try and run a game and it falls apart around you because the rules don't make clear sense to you, or it's that like feeling when you open up a board game and set it up and play for half an hour and then you're like, I don't think this is working.
I don't know how to
To go
play
on the
this.
maneuverability front, I also think forklifts could be sports, like basketball, physical movement sports,
Okay. I'm into it.
dexterity games, right?
The forklift is baseball. The
Would you
forklift
call
is...
sports a dexterity game? Like, if we're getting there, it's kind of an anaerobic game.
That's also true.
I think there's some sports that use
Can't
fine.
both be true?
Yeah, thumb wrestling.
Golf.
poker.
Wait,
Skeet
hand-eye
shooting,
coordination. That's dexterity.
triathlon.
Wait, hold on. Is poker a sport?
Oh, jeez.
It's on the Eastern Sports
League of
Perennial
Legends.
Network. Or whatever what the hell does ESPN stand for?
Yeah, I got it.
Eclipsed sunbathers
Sunbathers.
per nudity.
Every
Or
sport,
hand lift.
perhaps not poker.
Yeah, everybody forgets about the hidden P. at the
Second
end of ESPN.
P.
Yeah, the silent P.
This great schism, like the Catholic Church. What's the last one?
That's the car transporter. That's the truck
Oh,
that
that's-
carries cars.
That's Torque. Torque Rally Raid role playing, delivering in July. You can pre-order this very soon. You can check out kickstarter.com/willyope/project/Torque. It's going great.
Oh shit!
And then shit. Oh, we good?
You started cutting off right as you started talking about how good Torque was. I think we got the URL.
well-
We got the Kickstarter URL.
It's good. Let me just say.
Great. It is good. I think it's good. It's Torque.
I think it's good. It's good. This is good.
Well, we just did. Are there any types of trucks that this all-inclusive diagram missed? I don't think so. I mean, there definitely are. I'm looking at all the other diagrams I could have chosen. We got snow plows. We got
Car
fucking
transporters in the top corner now.
dump truck. There's a lot of trucks. Refrigerator truck. Keep your dice cold. There's a lot of trucks. That's the point
I
of
think
the...
a refrigerator truck is like a story game that has lots of procedures, so you tell a really tight, like structured story.
Something like a campfire.
Yeah, that's like a campfire. That's like a fall of
The
magic.
zone.
Campfire RPG, braintrust.rocks. Check it out Tuesday.
Yeah, do it. What do we got? Anything else going on here? Any other messages from the traveler that we should go over?
I think the traveler has sent me any more messages. I mean, knowing Adam, I knew that I was going to get a screenshot of iPhone notes with a new great role-playing game after they've taken a cross-country trip, because it, like clockwork, it happens. And I got another great one, so you can probably expect that at some point. Other than that, listen to the Brain Trust podcast, check out this Kickstarter. I'm on Twitter, etc.
Cool. Great. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Adam, if you are listening later, I hope you enjoyed the truck conversation. That was just for you. Enjoy the truck. Yes. Great. God, I'm falling
Bye-bye.
apart. See ya.
Strong stops.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, holy shit. I said I was great at the beginning of that, but I'm starting to think I can't use words today at all. It's just falling out of my mouth at speed. It's working, but it's sheer force of will that is making it work.
Wait, I want a fucking mic arm. God damn it. I want a mic arm. I want a boom arm. I'm jealous of your boom arm.
I bought the cheapest one, and it's I was worried that it was just going to be really shitty, but it's not. It's fine. It doesn't have like the really expensive ones have like cable management and like the cables go inside, but I could drape the cable over just fine. It could just be wherever.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
That should be the new thing. Yeah, after each call, we just. I was told at some point that if the exhale is shorter than the inhale, you get stressed. I don't know if that's real,
Interesting.
but keep that in mind.
It might be.
So make just nice long. Anyway, we've got Tony Vacinda in the waiting room.
Just hanging out, waiting
let's-
patiently.
Thank you for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Who are we talking to here?
Hey guys, it's Tony. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Tony.
Good. I miss y'all. This 1 p.m. time frame. It's much harder for me.
That's what I hear, and
Aw.
I'm sorry for that. It's
I hope
easier
it's better
for
y'all,
me.
though, 'cause that's actually what is important. Because I listen later, and that's okay.
Hopefully not on the podcast feed, because that is still crickets.
Yeah, I do. You
Oh,
know,
shit.
or on Twitch, wherever. I find it. I find the
Okay.
content.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm a bit
Yeah.
of a content hound.
Just you really sniff it out.
Without that content. I don't know if y'all have heard about this game coming out called Campfire. I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm a little jazzed.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh,
You've heard a couple things.
I tried to make a list of questions to just not bring the call-in show to a screeching halt, because I feel like that's what I normally do when I call in. It's just ask something that ruins the show for everybody. And I guess maybe I have a mild fan following that's what they expect, but I'm trying to let them down right now.
Okay.
Since Greg called in earlier, here's what I want to talk about. So I am play testing over the course of June a system that it's my first time publishing a game that is not my own. By which I mean I have enough money to do a print run of this game that I really like. It's called Down We Go. It's OSR inspired. It's a minimalist game. All the rules for how to play ostensibly fit on like one sheet of paper, half of it being GM and half of it being player. But we're doing like a blown up version that's going to be probably at least 20 pages with some dungeons and some other content. But with Jeremy talking a little bit with all the juice that flows through here, with Jeremy talking about maybe like the hey, maybe I don't like writing games, maybe I just like playing games. I think what I want to talk about is how we keep play at the center of what we do. I was talking to Jason Cordova about this earlier this week on my stream, but I feel like a lot of times with design, we don't necessarily consider what is the play of this game like. We think about how things work mechanically, right? We think about whether things are easy to explain. But I think there's a distinct difference between what is the experience of play that we are seeking to provide and do all the mechanics that we're stringing together make sense? And I feel like one of those questions is life draining and one of them is life giving for a lot of people, and maybe vice versa also too. But I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, so when you're like, I like to get a game to the play state as quickly as possible. Like, I'm actually not even concerned about writing down rules. I want to just sit down and say, let's play around with these ideas for a little while. Let's tell a story. When y'all are approaching that, like, where in your design process does play actually start to be considered?
I like it to be as soon as possible. That's hard to like schedule the soonest possible thing, because you got to get people that want to play it, that want to play your like half of a game. So I'm thinking about things like, I mean, obviously for the past year, like you had to get an online group together to play something, which I guess is a little easier. But if I go all the way back, like No Stone Unturned being my first bigger game, I like wrote most of that game, and then I texted a few friends and said, hey, do you want to play a game that I just made to see if it's anything? and we played it like that same day, and that I think was the only time that I did that, and also it was the best. So this as soon as possible thing is my ideal, but I don't think I've done it since. Because there are like a lot of mechanics that you seem good, but then once you start playing them, it's like, oh, that's too much. Like nobody's gonna keep track of that shit.
Tony, just to clarify, when you asked your question, did you mean it in terms of iteration or did you mean it in terms of design principle, like getting people to play the game as soon as they like crack open the book?
I think both of those things are interesting. I think that it is. I think one of the things I've come to know as somebody who buys far too many RPGs is that I'll read a lot of them and they will feel mechanically sound, but lack the feeling that somebody sat down and played the game. Like the consideration of what makes this game a unique and enjoyable play experience is sometimes missing from those games. And there are some things that I love in those, like I mean, like that make that feel that way for, like that create that feeling for me. And everybody's different, so maybe it's just that some games don't feel that way for me. I don't want to ding anybody specifically, but I think one kind of begets the other in my mind. Like if we don't consider what it's like for somebody when they first open that book and start playing, then we may not have considered play as an essential part of our design process. Does that make sense?
What?
So
Yeah.
So
More
take it in
more
whatever
like
order you
software
want.
things. I was gonna say on the latter form of the interpretation of that question, in terms of like, how do we get people who crack open the book to play as soon as possible? I have in all three of the games that I worked on that are nowhere in existence right now. I have considered like getting character creation as a part of play, like from the rip. I think that as soon as the book cracks open, there should be something, for at least in my designs, where I'm like, okay, because all my games are GM'd at this exact stage of time, but um, the GM reads off like a blurb of something, then it kind of walks through character creation. People are starting to pick certain pieces for their characters, and then there's sort of like a narrative transition to picking like perks or stats. What I always imagine is like the opening to Kingdom, like how you do the Kingdom Hearts tutorial in the beginning, and it's like, how do you fight for your friends? And then you have to pick like what your starting stat are, and then you sort of fight some enemies to like manipulate that. And then the next stage of it is like, what, yeah, I don't fucking remember, but like what memory holds you back? And it's like that. I like that sort of kind of tutorial onboarding of like, you're making decisions about your character as you're engaging with your character. Instead of trying to do everything at one time, you start to like skip. It's basically like scaffold. That's not a word.
Scaffolding.
Scaffolding mechanics plus character
Yeah,
creation all at the
I feel
same
like a
time.
game that you and I played
Scaffold.
together that was the best example of that I've ever had was Gods of Metal Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that journey of like, hey, yeah, just who are you and what's the thing that's the worst about your life and what's the thing that's best about your life, and now let's start building a character through play. Was a
Yeah.
very, very, very amazing intro like into the game. And like that concept of onboarding of character creation as adventure is something we don't see, I think, anywhere near enough of. It's also hard in some weights of game to really like fit in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the other one for me that's really helpful is like rituals of play. So that's like my follow-up question
Yep.
is, do y'all have any specific rituals that you use to engage and play? Like I love what Will said about like, what's that that's the game that we go to because we just had a really deep, like, you know, vulnerable conversation we're not ready for to start playing. I think like sometimes you just need to pause, and that's 100% fine. People should just do that. But also I think a lot of times we don't consider like, how do we know we're actually beginning to play? Like there's so many times I'll sit down at the table to play a game and no one's sure how to start except for the GM going, all right, we're going to play now, and then going. Do you have a favorite ritual of play that you engage in, like before you get started?
I mean, when it comes to like in-person games, it's always this kind of counts, but like okay, everybody's here finally and just kind of chatting, and we're not playing yet, and like just eventually, I think all of the catching up comes to a close, and then everybody turns to whoever's like running the game, and like just like the natural like easing into it. Nobody's forcing it, but everybody is there and wants to play. But like nobody's like, all right, everybody shut up. So like the ritual of, I don't know, saying hi to your friends for the first time in however long is a nice one for me, which isn't exactly like a specific thing to do, but I still find it to be nice.
Decompress.
Yeah, to like transition from whoever you are outside to, okay, here I am at this table with people that I enjoy, and we're gonna play a game. Okay, now we're ready. Hello. What are we doing today?
Yeah.
I always like games that have artifacts sort of built into them, or like a playmat or something like that. Like even in D&D, it's like when you put out the grid map at the start of the day, like when you finally put that on the table, it's like, ooh, the trigger is happening. It's getting close to game time. Or like 10 candles, how lighting the candles is sort of that experience. So just basically something that's like a physical object that you can manipulate or create buy-in for this moment for, I think could be a really powerful thing. I like the term artifact as well. I learned it from
Don't give away my
a book
secrets on
called
air.
Game Storming, recommended by Tony. Shh, 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 quiet. Shh. But yeah, I really like the concept of artifacts that are something tangible, physical that people can like mess with and have also attachment to. And I think that also comes in different forms of different games. So like I'm going to be running a session of Blood on the Clock Tower tomorrow, and I've talked about with Adam this like luxury murder mystery dinner edition where um everyone's roles are in like wax sealed envelopes. They can come in like role play garb, and there can be like food and drink. The game allows you to sort of like maneuver around the play space and chat with people in secret, and it can be like a full immersion. And I think that's something that's also very cool about like a kind of ritual or artifact play, like little pieces of things that are like, ooh, you have a secret letter on you. What does this say? Someone's passing notes or like that. I think that could be cool.
Are there any games coming out maybe this week that have really cool artifacts that you get to play with in the center of the table that you know of?
Coming out this week that I know of?
Yeah.
There is one going to Kickstarter pretty soon. If you head over to braintrust.rocks, a little game called
yeah?
Campfire. Has a
Nice.
lovely mat in the middle of the table, some cards. Was there another one that you were gesturing
Yeah,
at?
that's what I was going. That's what I was reaching for. Um, so just you got to squeeze that last little bit of campfire juice out. No, I love what you guys are doing. Glad I was able to tune in the middle of the day to day, and hopefully I'll catch some more in the future. Am I supposed to plug things before I go?
If you want. You don't have
Hey, go
to.
to
But
braintrust.rocks. Check out the campfire Kickstarter that's coming up. Also,
Rocks.
if you want to check out any of our stuff, I run Plus One EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Go to plus1exp.com to check out any of that stuff. Our game Beards and Beyond is out, and I don't ever promote it, and I'm the worst about it. Like I'm very good at promoting other people's stuff and very bad at just being like, hey, here's my stuff. You should do it. But it's we also have the SRD for that coming out in the next week or so. So we're gonna have Beard Jam happening for that, and there's a lot of pieces of very simple tech that I love that we built into that game, and I would love people to check it out. So yeah,
awesome.
Good.
Yeah. Well, it's great talking to you as always, Tony.
good chatting with y'all.
We'll see you around. All right.
Hey.
So there is one more caller in the queue. If you've got, you ready?
Oh, I'm always ready.
Always
I'm
ready.
juiced.
Can't be stopped. Juiced. And
Yeah.
Hello. Thanks for calling the Tabletop Collins Show. Who are we talking to today?
Hey.
Hello.
I think I heard you.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, cool.
I'm Taylor Danio. What's up?
Not too much. How you doing?
Not much.
I'm doing well. So I have two possible threads to kind of go down depending on like what you're interested in. Would you like something that's kind of light or maybe a little bit more meat on the bones?
Honestly, it's about you. It's the dealer's
All right.
choice.
Yeah, I'm good
so
for either.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about representation in games. Like, what do you two think good representation looks like in games? And that can be anything from like looking at representations of culture or representations of gender and sexuality, or just like representations of tropes and genres. Like, what is good, effective representation of blank in games to you?
Uh, for me, I think it's more than checking the consultation box that I think a lot of people are doing nowadays, where they're like, yeah, we hired a Canadian territory consultant to speak to our game. How about instead just hire that person to write a portion of the game that matters to, like have that person actually create in your space instead of just like giving you the token or charity trophy thumbs up sort of thing, uh because I think it's just like, I don't know, it just feels like a loophole to me personally. I think the other thing to think about when it comes to representation, maybe from the exploratory sides, is that no matter how someone identifies, they are still a single person within that wide culture spectrum. So their experience still may not match up representatively with someone else who identifies inside of that culture. So it's kind of like I don't want to, catch 22 isn't the exact, I think, phrasing I would use here, but uh I think is this thing where like there's not, I don't think there's ever a way to attain perfect representation for everyone when it comes to game design, but I do think there are better practice that people could have to create a stronger through line,
Cool. Yeah.
which I think is important.
I work as both a teacher and I design some games. And so, like when I'm teaching, one of the core principles that we're trying to use as a staff in our school is following along with the idea of nothing about us without us. And
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, we also did a staff-wide book club that involved a book by a white lady about anti-racism. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and she does a very good job of referencing a lot of her coworkers, but it's just like you said, where none of her coworkers were invited to write the book, and all of her coworkers of
Mm-hmm.
color are the ones whose ideas show up in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is like, we're an all-white staff. I'm indigenous, but I'm also white. So
Mm-hmm.
like we recognize that there's some limitations to how we're doing representation, but also like we're an all-white staff in a school, and like
Mm-hmm.
that's not by accident. Yeah.
Right.
And in designing a game, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm working on a game that looks at trickster spirits and sort of indigenous story work and indigenous storytelling, and trying to make that accessible to both non-indigenous audiences and something that like people who are indigenous to places other than like me on Turtle Island will be able to take their cultural stories about spirits and apply to the rules conventions, and trying to recognize like when like even when talking about indigeneity, people will talk about like being indigenous like it's a cultural monolith, but there's over 300 nations on North America alone.
Right.
And every continent has indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the only thing I really need to add is just how important it is to be thoughtful about basically everything you're including and not including. So like if you are
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring in something that is inspired by a culture that either is or isn't, one that you are familiar with or are part of, it's just important to like just think about it. Like don't just mindlessly. I feel like for years and years, the classic RPGs just mindlessly include like whatever the hell they want. Like if you look at early D&D shit, it's just like all of this stuff just pulled in and there's no thought to it. It's just like there as an aesthetic or whatever else. And like obviously thinking about it, if you're only talking to yourself, isn't gonna do anything. But it should, like if you're like bringing something in or thinking about bringing something in, having a conversation with yourself about like, okay, well, what do I have to do this right? And then if you are touching on a culture that like you have no part of, then like what Jeremy was saying, reaching out to somebody and like bringing somebody on board, or even like thinking, do I need to like there's a lot to it, and it obviously will depend on like the type of game that you're making. If you're making something that like most of my games don't really have any themes, which I don't know if that is necessarily the right way to do it. But if you're making something with no like built-in setting, like you still need to look at what are your mechanics saying about the way cultures work. What is the lack of built-in theme say? Are you providing enough scaffolding to make sure that people don't take that game and make it shitty? There's like a lot to think about, but like making sure that that is part of the design from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, like I've been reading. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, it isn't just an afterthought. Like sometimes you'll see on a Kickstarter that like they pulled in a cultural consultant like at the end, and it's like that's a person that should be there at the beginning to make sure. Because I don't know if you listened to the consultant, like you just hired one, but you don't have to. Yeah.
I mean, like I've been reading Mere Gods by Tan Shao Han, and it's like where Dungeons and Dragons casts an incredibly wide net and doesn't necessarily filter anything that they put in their game. I think that this is a really good example of something that is going for a very specific tone, pulling from a very specific cultural mindset, and sharing the steps along the way to actually properly bring in people who aren't from that cultural mindset. So that like this is a comprehensive piece of work that you can understand with like built-in adventure, the rules to the game, and instructions on like what the role of each player is supposed to be within those set themes. So it might be a matter of like when you cast your net too wide, it becomes an impossible thing to manage that sort of space. Then really what it is you can't control what players do with your game afterwards, but you can at least give them like guidance. Like I'm thinking about the Coyote and Crow RPG that was funded on Kickstarter 2 months ago, and that's I think majority of the team is indigenous to different regions in North America, and it's an alternate future setting where colonization never happens on Turtle Island. And thinking about like how wide a net can you cast, and what are the steps that I believe it's Connor Alexander who is taking to make that accessible to everyone. And also like now I'm on to another question: should every game be accessible to everyone?
That's
I don't think
that's
so.
another question. Every game does not have to be for every
My
person.
my personal feeling is that not every story is meant for everyone, right? Because there are instances of games that are just made for kind of a particular zone of culture. I think I talked about this with both actually both people, with Adira Paulino and Adira Slattery, Paulina Caputo, and Taylor LaBreche about like queer play and games that are designed around a queer space. And I think most of them, if I recall correctly, said that like not every game they make is for a general populace. Sometimes they are just designing an experience for a fellow queer experience, or to like um personify is not the right word. I can't think of the proper refined word, but what I'm ultimately saying is that it is also within my opinion that, like, I'm a Black American, and I don't think that if I made a game that sort of centered on that experience, I don't know if I would like not be okay. I don't think if you want to play my game and you're not Black, that's fine, but you're not going to get the full leverage of the experience because you don't have that lens to view what's going
It's
on,
a
or
it's
to be
a
able to see what's
cultural
going on
illiteracy
here.
more than ignorance.
Yeah.
I mean, also like thinking along the lines of queer games. Like, I wouldn't want to play John Harness's "Us faggots kill fascists" with a bunch of straight people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The other
And
question I had. Oh, go ahead.
no, you're good. I didn't have much to say. We're good.
The other question I was going to bring in, that was the like lighter tone, is what's a recent RPG that you liked? Give it a shout out.
I played Ark the other day on previous caller Tony. Was Tony the last person that talked? I can't remember. Tony called at
Yeah.
some point
Tony
today.
Cinda.
I was on plus one XP playing Ark by Momados, which is on Kickstarter tomorrow, and it feels like it was designed for my specific tastes. I liked it a lot.
Wow. Wow.
Just like as far as like having a game for one shot or short campaign play, I don't know. There were a lot of little mechanics that I was super into, like a real time countdown timer for the apocalypse and stuff like that. It's very good.
Love that.
RPG.
Wow. Who knew this would be the hard question?
Yeah, this is the one that breaks me today. You know how many games I read.
Yeah. I mean,
And I think they're all so good. I think one that I would pick that kind of like throws me outside of the regular like playscape of a tabletop RPG is a more LARP inspired one called um, Behind the Mag. Oh, it might be two. Behind the Magic by Randy Lubin, which is a improv sort of based game that has some promptings for you. Basically, the idea is that you're playing bumbling adventurers who are going to fail in the end, and you play through a couple of acts, and those stakes raise as you continue to play. And it's kind of like in a mockumentary style, like The Office or something like that, where you have one-on-one conversations, you have side sit downs, and you're just sort of getting the retellings from these adventurers. And then another one that's really interesting that I think is a really good example of the scaffolding stuff that I was talking about earlier in the show is called The Zone by Raphael D'Amico. Uh, and basically it's basically, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but for anyone that's listening and knows the reference, it's basically Annihilation, the movie, the game. You are all some sort of person with a reason to go into the zone that at its center can supposedly grant you any wish. And it's a game about sort of self-destruction as your phobias and obsessions kind of change you as you move through the zone, and then you become part of the zone as you engage in play, and thus take on more of a GM role until there's only one player left who makes it to the center, and then has to deal with that final fallout. So the latter game is actually free. You can go to the web browser-based version of it, thezonerpg.com, I think it is. I'm
yes.
sure someone can correct me on that, but those are two games that I think are really cool.
I just played Preparing for Paris yesterday with game designer Logan Timmons, and it was a spectacular, very sweet game where you play as school students at Olympic Academy in sort of the B-list sports that desperately want to make it to the Olympics, and you're a personified version of that sport. So I was Derek Disc Golf, and there was like Connor Cricket, and one of my friends decided to play a 12-year-old who was like given an advanced entry, but tried to hide that they were 12 by wearing like platform heels in their first year. And it was just very like cute and sweet, and like
Yeah, that's very fun.
is
That's a great
the
premise.
yeah, it is the herbal tea of RPGs, I guess, because it was just like it's exactly what I wanted and what I needed to feel ready for the rest of the day. Uh,
Aw.
yeah, it felt healthy.
Yeah, I looked it up. It looks good. I think Grace would like this a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that one, see if I can get it, because I just like games with like settings, or not settings, but like themes or core pitches that are kind of nonsense.
Yeah,
But then you
like,
just play through
and
it, like your Derek disc golf. That's very good, because like
I was
it doesn't make sense, but you just make sense of it, and through that you get a ton of fun.
yeah, it's like very much the I don't know if you have seen the TV show 15 Love, but it was always on like any Chorus Entertainment broadcaster late at night. Just like high intensity sports school, but teen emotions playing into everything that you do.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna probably wrap up the show here soon. But if you have anything that you wanted to shout out or plug or whatever else before we call it, by all
Yeah,
means.
sure. You can buy my games or my magazine at Tinker Taylor Publications. That's Tinker Taylor Publications.itch.io. I have a couple of short games, including a game called This Vineyard Will Be Our Salvation, which is a For the Queen hack, and I have a magazine there called Made to Way Quarterly, which is an all-indigenous sports and gaming magazine. We've got 2 issues out, and our next issue is coming out in early July. So you can buy individual copies there or get access to the entire backlog by going to patreon.com/mqmag. Otherwise, find me on Twitter at TaylorDND or friend me on Neopets at TaylorDerek.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, yeah. Thanks for calling in. It's been great talking to you.
Peace out.
Yeah. See you later.
Thank you, Taylor.
All right. And there we go. That's the show.
Wow.
We did it. Another
Great
one.
show.
10.
Great
in
number
the
10.
books. Now what?
We did it. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll see what goes. We'll see where this goes in the future. Now that we've hit
Yeah.
magical 10, which is the number that we told ourselves.
Yeah.
To try,
Season
and
1. Yeah.
I feel like our audio is a little bit lagged.
We're going
and
to do
it's
some
throwing me
background
off.
assessing. I also feel that way because I
Yeah.
keep talking at the same time that you're talking.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll figure out my internet about it. You can figure out your internet. We will figure out the show. But I imagine, we'll probably be back next week. If you want to find me,
We also got to do. Ooh.
fuck.
See, this is the lag issue.
Hey.
But I was gonna say we could also do the tabletop call-in game show.
We do that. I mean, whatever that means, I want to do it. Start playing games, but like not in a
Yeah.
normal way. Yeah, we're probably gonna try to get weird with this a little bit. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I've been Adam Bell. Find me on Twitter at AdamEBell. Find the show at Tabletop Call-In. Subscribe on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. The podcast feed will be updated. I'm finally finished with my move officially after tomorrow, so like I can start being a real human. Jeremy, sign off and let's get out of here.
I've been Jeremy Gage. You can find me at JeremyGage5. Come listen to the Draw Your Dice podcast, where we talk with indie professionals about their game design philosophies, practices, and principles.
It's great. We will see you later.